Hi, this is Gloria, your life coach. Welcome to another episode of Life's a Shuffle.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson, your life coach, mentor coach, motivational speaker, and health coach, and welcome to another episode of Life's a Shuffle. Today, Freestyle Thursday, no topic. I'm just going to catch up for the week because I'm quite sure a lot of things are happening. Gloria, you're in volleyball and educator, and distance learning is a new thing. Then try to get that, I would say, quagmire or minutia figured out. You have kids. I got some big things on my plate that I'm trying to swallow and can't. I'll throw up if I keep swallowing it. So, a kind of big thing on my plate right now is those that don't know, and obviously those that know me already know, is I will be leaving California indefinitely. It sounds kind of negative when I say indefinitely. I'm born and raised in California. Those that do not know, I'm from San Diego, born and raised. The only time I ever left California was between November 2002 until April 2003. I came back to California. Then I started working at Fry's, my full-time job. And now I'll be leaving California and going to a whole different area. Only been there once. Uh, Demographics are different, but I like it. Less people, less traffic. Cost of living is 10 times less. While here in California, two bedroom, two bath apartment may run you $3,500, especially in Northern California, or a one bedroom, one bath apartment, depending on location, can run you about $2,500. Out there, two bedroom, two bath apartment runs you $1,700, and that's it. Plus, obviously, your PG&E, your cable, or your internet, whatever you guys have out there. But this is a huge step in my life, and the reason why it's a huge step is because I will be obviously, so I'm a personal trainer, and those that know that out there. So I'm pretty much doing personal training and mentor coaching, but pretty much most of my income is personal training. So I will be shutting down my gym and moving there. And the biggest benefit, or not benefit, the biggest drawback to that is that 90% or 80% of my clients are in person. So I'll be having to reinvent myself in Bellingham, Washington. Obviously, those that follow me through the app or virtual sessions, they would be calling me there. But you know what? This is a scary feeling, but I'm trusting the process and things will work out when they should work out.
Well, good for you. So, how are you feeling right now with all this coming up, all these changes that are coming up for you?
It's a good question. Um, it's mixed. It's mixed emotions. I think the mixed emotion is shit. How am I make money? Let's face reality, right? I
Mhm.
mean, if I hit the lotto, I would be thinking about money, but how you can make money, how you can navigate new surroundings. I think my first fear. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, which everybody talks about, is demographics. Bellingham is 90 or 75% Caucasian. I would call it sprinkles, but a few blacks I saw, a few Hispanic. But when I first went there, I don't know why we have this. How they're going to treat someone of my race, right? And I
Mhm.
went there with this kind of, I don't know if it's a chip on my shoulder or uncertainty. I don't think it's chip on my shoulder, but uncertainty is that how they would treat a black person. What's going on? Oh my goodness. We make an ass out of ourselves by coming up with all these assumptions about, well, they're white or whatever race they are. They were super friendly. Okay. People there actually look you in the eye and smile. In Bay Area, the only time they look you in the eye and smile is if they run into you because they're on a smartphone, right? Times you go to the grocery store and you're gonna run into somebody because they're on a smartphone, right? Or someone's driving and texting. They were super friendly. It was really a great benefit to walk into a restaurant or walk into. I went to the gym out there because gyms are open. Walk into a gym, and not only was the gyms, some gyms are open in California, especially North California. Gyms are closed probably indefinitely or permanently. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're doing outside training, but with the smoke and with all that stuff happening as far as the
It's
fires and
hot.
it's hot, I don't want to be outside training. If I want that, I'll be in Hawaii on the beach. So if I get hot, the water's right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so gyms are open, but everybody wore a mask. Everybody was social distance, and everybody, walk right in. They take your temperature. You walked like 10 feet. There's a water bottle and a towel ready, so you wipe down the quick before and after, and everybody followed that protocol. So it was astonishing to look at that and say, "Wait a minute here. Okay, hold on. If masks work, they say they work. Everybody keeps a social distancing. You wipe the equipment down. Why are not gyms open in California?" Okay. The flip side to that too was that restaurants, inside seating is open. Same kind of policy. You walk right in with your mask. You can sit down at your table, just like do outside seating, but you're 6 feet or 8 feet away from the next person. If you got to go to the bathroom or leave, put your mask back on. Everybody follow that policy. On hiking, if you pass on hiking, my mask is off hiking because I mean you want to smell the fresh air, and so if I saw someone coming, put your mask back on. That very simple. So I don't understand why California is all screwed up here. So but back to your comment, it's definitely nerve wracking, but um, some things are really happening are good. And I guess I'll go ahead and let the rabbit out the bag on this one. So the condo I live in right now is sold. I got notification last night, and at the same time it is sold, we're also pending on a place in Bellingham, Washington. So the reality is, I'll be going from a 3 bedroom, 2 bath condo. Okay. And obviously, pending. So unless you are super rich and you have cash, that's a big process because to buy a house. It's not that easy, right? You got to go
Pay it
through
off when you get
contracts.
it.
Well, first of all, you got to make sure you get approved for something. Second, you gotta make sure you go. There also is negotiation. Like if it's brand new, then it's a different story. But these have tenants in there, the owners live there, so it's brand new and not brand new. But if it is brand new, you'll be able to move there, and obviously not worry about. It. But tenants are there, so they want not tenants, but the owners are there, so they want certain time to leave. So we're in contract to actually buy a house in Bellingham, Washington. So I'll be going from a 3 bedroom, 2 bath condo to possibly a 4 bedroom, 4 bath condominium. Not condominium, sorry, house. I keep saying condominium, right? Because in California, especially North California, the only thing you can afford out here is a condominium because houses are millions. Um, so it's definitely fast paced. You know, that's
Hmm.
kind of in a nutshell.
Well, congratulations. I'm sure you're very happy and you're looking forward to this new changes in your life. And the next chapter, right?
Yeah, it is next chapter of my life. I'm excited. Um, I mean, I'm looking forward to I kind of when I think about life in general, I think about this, and this always plays like a recording in my head. If not now, when? And whatever I thought I couldn't have in life, I'm going to go after it. And third thing is that I'm going to get what I want. And those play like broken records over and over again in my head because that's how you set up yourself for success. Is that you realize I can't achieve it. I realize I can't do anything I want to. And more importantly, is we're on this world for a limited amount of time. How long the world has been around, millions of years, I don't know and don't recall. But most people don't live past 100. Okay, so we're all on this world for a limited amount of time. It's best to do the things you want to in your life while you're alive, while you can. Because once you're dead, then you can do about things that you wish you could have, should have, could have done.
Hmm. I do have a question. You may have mentioned this in the beginning. So with this whole racism coming back around again, and you mentioned the area you're going to be moving at, population mostly white, right? And you'd be like a minority. Has anything crossed your mind about any of that issue coming to you with, again, because we have a whole new another issue that just happened recently, right? Um,
What's the new issue? Enlighten me because I don't watch news. I heard
okay,
some guy,
so
Jacob or something like that.
yes,
Is that the new
yes,
thing?
yes,
Okay, so
yes.
what's going
So
on with that
now
thing?
it's becoming to be a big deal again with the cops, shooting a black guy. Then again, I'm thinking like, are we gonna have this situation again of going back to the Black Lives Matter and being divided again? I mean, it kind of died down a little bit, right? It got quiet. So my thoughts on this is, I think a lot of us are kind of waiting for something to happen again, maybe a riot again somewhere.
Hmm.
Has anything about racism at all crossed your mind moving there?
First of all, let me tell you this. If you don't know, California's racism. California has the biggest race problem we ever seen. People are more racist in California than any other state. At least in other states, you know where you stand. California, they're very fake. They'll be upfront with you. They'll talk to you in your face, but they're very cliquish, and they're Californians the same way. So let's just face that reality. First, second reality for myself: racism exists no matter what. The third most important thing I will never forget, this old man, he's 75 years old, still alive. He says, Ronnie, I don't have to worry about racism. I said, why? He says, that's not my problem. So you're racist, great for you. Guess what? That's not my problem. That's your problem. You have an issue. I don't have an issue. So if you have an issue, be on. Um, I did see Black Lives Matter signs a lot out there. I don't know all the facts about Jacob, so I can't say what and did not happen. I will say this. I
I don't know.
mean,
I didn't read the whole story, but I'm just honestly, I've just been hearing about it from other people and people talking about it. So I don't know. I'm not very big on social media. I haven't really watched the news either, but I've only
so
heard about it from people,
you're
right?
actually better than me. I saw some about Jacob, but obviously I didn't go and research the facts. So that's why I asked you, did you see the news? Usually saw the news, but then saw social media. So I was aware something happened. Specifically what happened, I had no idea. Just I was following loose. I mean, are cops only shooting black people or are cops shooting anybody? Is really what we talk about here. I don't know. So, I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe I'm throwing a monkey wrench in the engine, but the deal is, are they only shooting blacks? Are they shooting whites? Are they shooting Mexicans? Are they shooting any other race? I don't know, and I'd like to know if that is happening. Because while we sit here and only focus on one thing, well, what else is happening, right? Everything has an effect, right? So it's a domino effect. So I think most people I saw on social media is those that support Black Lives Matter. They're supporting that. But what I also saw is that a lot of people are fearful with that. Here we go again with the riots. Here we go again with the
Hmm.
protesting. Here we go again with this. So is more people more afraid of the rioting and looting and all that stuff than they're afraid of a change? I'm not for sure. And like I said again, I would love to know, is it only black people they're shooting or are they shooting everybody else?
I don't know.
And I like
I
to,
don't know what to tell you.
I like to play
I
devil's advocate on that because I don't know. I like to know. I mean, are they shooting Mexicans? Like to see a Hispanic dude and like, okay, I don't like you, can't speak English. Boom, I'm going to shoot you. I mean, what was the context of this? So
Mhm.
I guess before we get too deep, I don't know the facts. I can't talk about things. I'm just throwing things out there that come to mind right now. But back to racism in Bellingham, I think racism does exist. I probably will encounter that. Maybe I won't. Who knows? But you can't allow someone else's ignorance to determine your outcome in life. Your outcome in life is determined by you. So if I'm go there with a chip on my shoulder, or racism does exist, shit, racism exists in California. Okay, racism exists right here at this day and
I
time
think it's
in
a lot
California.
more worse somewhere else though, I mean, California is I've been living here for most of my life and I think I have experienced racism, but I've seen California, I see California as a really diverse state. But I think racism is bigger somewhere else in a different state where it's clearly like black and white. But I think now it's more of just the police, the authorities against black, right? That's what's happening right now.
Could be, but I can't go there with that on my back. It is what it is.
Yeah. I don't
It,
know.
it is what it is, and I'm going to focus on instead of wasting energy thinking about racism. All right, I know it exists. I'm wasting energy on enhancing my mindset and coming there with a great attitude. Because remember, energy attracts like energy. So if I come there with the attitude of energy attract is likes energy, and again, like I said earlier, racism. If you're racist, that's your problem, not my problem.
Mhm.
Life
Yeah.
goes on.
I don't know. I'm so lost. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just so done with all this stuff anyway. Everything. Fire, COVID, um, shooting, violence, all that. I just kind of go with the flow.
So, you know what? That always so shooting violence always existed. It's just that now we have cameras and smartphones. We just see more and more at you faster and faster. That's all.
Mhm.
Nothing really has changed. Shootings, violence, riots haven't changed. It's the fact it comes at you more directions. You got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got Apple. Apple sends me an email about the COVID or whatever it is daily. So you got it coming at you so many different angles. Then let's say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you just had what news and in a newspaper. Now, social media comes at you faster. So you just kind of, it's more of an ISO. But killing, shootings, police brutality has been around for years. And they need to figure out how to change that or whatever that is going out there. But let's go back to you. What about this distance learning? This is
I was
something
just gonna
totally
say,
new.
let's talk about something different now.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about anything bad, and but first of all, congratulations,
thank you.
congratulations, and going after what you want, and pursuing it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. So we go back to Distance learning? Is that what it
Distance
is?
learning. I
Oh my
say I say virtual learning. So I guess distance learning is the more political correct term.
You know, it's funny. I've actually every time I want to say distance learning, I've been trying to say social distancing because I'm so used to like social distancing, social distancing. It's always coming out. So now when we talk about, well, at school we're doing distance learning, but what wants to come out of my mouth is social distancing. It's just so weird. But yeah, so this week we started school, first week of social distancing. See, I just said social distancing. I meant distance learning. It's an experience. It definitely is an experience. And what I for me right now, I think it could be mentally draining. I think I speak not only for myself and for the other teachers I know and that I've talked to that it it's just sitting there in front of that computer and staring all day. I mean, we're not just in it for an hour, we're in it for like 5 hours and some are 6. And then after school hours, you still have work to do, and I think sometimes like I've realized also, I feel like, what am I doing to myself? I'm beating myself here. I'm here doing this all day. And then a few days a week, then I have volleyball right after school. And I
Hmm.
just get so tired. But at the same time, I don't know what keeps me going. Something is motivating me. Something gets me up early morning for this, and then something gets me going straight to volleyball and coaching and playing with the girls. And I don't really feel anything until I think when I get home and I'm actually after I showered and just relax, I'm done. But it's been really like it's been an experience just staring at the screen and all the kids. What kills me sometimes in the mornings is the little ones right now. You're looking at them and you see them yawning, you see them staring at the screen like half asleep, and they're still not all there, but it's the first week. So we'll see what happens next week. One of the teachers told me today, she said, because I complimented one of the class, I said, "Oh, these kids are a really good class. I haven't, they're all good." And she said, "Yeah, they have been so far. We'll see. Honeymoon stage will end by the end of this week." That's what she said, which is true.
Hmm. But what's the everybody's take on this? Is this the way the norm's going to be, or will we ever have in person, or what's really happening?
I mean, there is plans of going back to school. There really is. And I think I can't speak for every school right now, but I know for our school, we are preparing for it. We are, there's already tapes around the classroom of how far you can go from your area to your teacher. The desks and the tables are being separated, and how many you can have in a classroom. Some of the schools I think are will be going back on campus probably within a month, and some are um, preparing to go back by the end of the year.
Oh,
And
interesting. Okay,
yeah, I think they're still planning. A lot of the schools are still planning hybrid. You know.
half and half in person. Like some students go
Hmm.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and some students go like Tuesday and Thursday, or whatever they decide to do, or Friday's online learning or something like that.
Hmm. But let me tell you this too. I've noticed and I've seen a lot of. I think I saw something on TV one time too that there are teachers who are against going back on campus. I think I've heard of other teachers from I don't know what school or what state. They've actually left. I think it's in a different state because some of the states right now are back on campus. Some of the schools.
Okay.
And I think I've heard of teachers from, those other schools who had actually left and resigned because they don't want to be on campus. They feel like they're risking.
So, what's the take on that? Like, why do you think they're risking something? What's happening? If you're distant 6 foot around, you're wearing a mask. Is mask not working, or people are just afraid of just being around people? Period. What's the scope here?
I think even if you have a strict rule of having a mask on, what I've seen was, um, God, it was on TV. I can't remember what state it was, but this one particular school that they showed on TV, half of the students aren't wearing a mask and half are.
No, okay.
You know, I understand. I have to actually look at this on the on both sides. I understand that it really is hard to get the kids to get used to this. It's a constant reminder. You have to constantly remind them social distancing. You have to constantly remind them you need to put your mask on, because it's not something that they're used to. This is like the new norm for them. And even if you say, oh, we've been doing this for 5 months, it's still not the norm for them. Um, and some, mm, I would say, from what I've heard, are tired of this. They just want to go back to their normal life. We don't know when that's going to be. But again, I do understand both sides.
So, since you understand both sides, how is this going to affect the kids long term? I mean, put COVID aside, it does affect their interaction with adults. Are they getting education? Because if you're taking, I don't know, like younger kids, but if you're taking trigonometry or calculus, how do you figure those problems out? I mean, how do you do all that? How do you math problems? How are you doing tests? How are you doing, as far as interacting with people? They're doing groups. They have like, if someone gets behind, they get to raise their hand. If someone has a question, they get to raise their hand. Is there like 30 or 40 people per group? I mean, what's the nutshell of this thing?
Let me tell you my take on this, or actually more like what I see happening and what I feel. And I've, you know, um, a couple of my friends who are also teachers, we've talked about this. Um, um, I just lost track here. Hold on. Let me get it back. Um, some of these kids a lot of them are going to be behind academically and their social skills.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. So right now, the way you look at it, when the kids are at home, a lot of these kids are, you know, glued on the TV, on the screen, iPad, computer, whatever, and video games that they play. And now that even more that they're at home with this distance learning, they're on in front of the screen even more. And even if the parents try to limit and give them like a limit on the screen, right? What happens to socializing?
That's what I'm asking. So, what happens to them interacting with people? I
They're
mean,
they're not going to have that. They're already losing more of that because the kids need that, because as they get older, you don't want them to be a square. So yeah, a lot of them will be, I would say a lot of them will be behind academically, and they're part of their social skills and social life, whatever they have, they're going to be behind, and it's going to affect them. It's going to affect the kids a lot. They may not see it right now, but it will.
yeah, our society's not set up to do online training school wise. It's just not how it's set up. Just the way it is, I guess. Makes you wonder where I'm coming from is, I didn't have to do distance learning, neither did you. Obviously, COVID wasn't around at that time, but how do people, what if a student gets behind? Like, what if a kid has autism?
Hmm.
And usually, most time, the reason they feel like autism is a teacher says, "Hey, I think this kid needs to be tested." What if a kid has a mental disability and they just don't know it and gets passed along? I mean, could that happen?
Yeah, I believe it.
Wow. So here, some kid needs individual help or has a mental disability and, or some kind of autism, and here he gets passed along. So it can affect them that time as well, too.
It could. Let me tell you something else too. I saw I don't know if I've talked about this once before, but the track where I go to near my work, now the outdoors is okay now, right? So outdoor activity. So you see a lot of people running around the track, exercising. There's this one kid that I see every day that I believe he has autism, and his mom will just drop him off on the track. She stays in the car, and he'll just keep running around, running around, running around. He'll come to her to get water, and he'll go back and run around again and run around and run around. He could be doing that for a whole hour. And I remember one time I was there over an hour and he was still there. The mom just sits in the car reading a book or doing whatever she's doing, but she's letting her kid out because he needed to be outside. Now imagine If he didn't have that, if we didn't have the outdoor activities, where would she put him? Where would she bring him?
All the energy, right? Pent up.
Yeah. So that, and then I also thought about like like other countries, right? And the reason for that is, I'm originally from the Philippines. So I still have a lot of families in the Philippines. And I thought about them, and the Philippines is actually doing distance learning as well.
Oh, okay.
So what about those that can't afford a computer, an iPad? How are they learning? How are they doing school?
I've heard here in America that people that can afford it, their school is providing them material. Is it the same thing in Philippines? I don't know if it's every single school in that I've heard about, but
Yeah,
in the Philippines, is the government providing material? How they keep up?
exactly. Some schools, but you know what? They can't help every single school in the Philippines.
Hmm, interesting.
And it's, I mean, it's just so sad. Like, look at all the kids that are really going to be affected by this.
Yeah, I think it's affecting. I hear more adult sides. I do adults in training. Adults are so stressed because not only did they make sure the kid logs into computer, they also got to make sure they're doing also the career stuff too. So it's one of those things where it's like the parents need to do their work at the same time, make sure your kid logs in. So what do people do? How do you navigate that? How do you navigate your career? How do you navigate make sure your kid logs in? How do you make sure they do their homework? That's the thing I think was hurting everybody. Everybody's affected by this. Like you got to make sure you sit down, log into your meetings. You got to look over, make sure Bobby's logged into his computer or his iPad or whatever it is. Make sure he's working. Because I heard from a client the other day. She says, "Oh, I'm so obsessed. What happened?" She says, "My kid gets up in the morning. She was late to class. I think she was like maybe 5 minutes late. Supposed to start at 9. Kids got there at 9:05 online class. And guess what? About hours later, here comes the school calling them. Oh, did your kid miss attendance? She's like, no, she was there. She's like, oh, she was? Okay, I'll mark it okay. Right? I mean, what if your internet goes down? What if you forget to
Yeah.
charge your computer? I mean, I'm more or less thinking about if these kids are sitting on a laptop or a tablet all day long learning, what about their back and neck issues are going to happen? How
I
about the obesity rate's going to go up?
Yeah, obesity, most especially with the kids. I have another friend who is a teacher here at a public school in San Jose, and I was asking questions like that. Those, families who can't afford um computer or iPad, or what if their internet is down, or just bad internet. And I guess the school, or because they're government funded, the school provided hotspots. I don't know how that works, but
But if you don't have a computer, how do you get a hotspot? A hotspot is just Wi-Fi, right?
yeah.
So if you give me a hotspot, what if I don't have a computer?
No, they do. So if you need one, the school will help provide one for you and lend you an iPad or a computer. And then
Okay.
if you have a bad Wi-Fi signal, whatever, then they'll, help you with the hotspot. But from what I heard, they only have so much, so they can't help every family. If you have
That's what I was gonna
thousands and
say.
thousands of family in school and everyone needs one, they can't.
So I was thinking about this today to one client is that in Silicon Valley, you have all these big buildings like Google, Salesforce are all empty. Why isn't Google or Salesforce partnering up with their local school or local charity and trying to help students out because they have internet, they have
Maybe they
computers.
are. Maybe they are. We just don't hear it. Like Apple,
That's what I like to know about. Like,
Yeah.
there's a building right there by the gym I used to work at. It's empty. That's perfect for families that or don't have the needs or access to that. They have computers already. Lend them out to students. That's just charity
Mhm.
because these buildings sitting there empty.
Yep. I just, I feel for a lot of the kids. And some of them, like my students, they'll come to me and they'll talk to me about this, and they'll tell me, and I always want to like hear from them how they feel about this and how is school so far. And, you know, what they tell you sometimes, you kind of just try to make them feel like, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. You can do this, just, just work, just do your work, just do your homework, just study. Right. But you know what I always tell them? It'll be over. This is just temporary.
Hopefully, or whatever the new norm is.
Well, you kind of just have to kind of tell them that it's this is just temporary.
Yeah, because you can't tell them what they want to hear. I don't. They probably just want someone listening to them.
Yeah, and I think we'll have a couple of those teenagers will be our guests to talk about this pretty soon, right?
Oh, we do. We have that coming up. I can't wait to hear it.
Hmm.
I'm really curious because I
Yeah,
hear the adults say, "Man, this is a nightmare." So I'm curious to see
I
how
think
that
it would
works
be
out.
nice to hear from a couple of the teenagers how this affects them mentally. And this is actually was brought up, and they brought up the topic to talk about because you know it
That's our
obviously
youth. Let's
has
talk to them.
yeah, and it obviously has a very bad effect on them.
hmm And that's why I want to bring it up because they inherently want someone to listen to them. So, and talk about what's happening and hear the side of the story because I don't think no one's hearing. They're just putting a plan in place without listening to both sides of the paradigm. This is
Hmm.
the way we're going to do it. How does it going to work? I don't know. Just figure it out, right? So you got to listen to both sides, right? Like, how do you facilitate distance learning? What happens to the kids mentally, emotionally? How they're affected by it? How about the parents mentally, emotionally? How they're affected by it? Because it's pretty much you need to have a parent sitting there and make sure the kid does their work. So easy, they can get distracted, they eat, they fall asleep. Who knows?
Yeah.
Parent has to work too. What if the parent has to actually be in the office or go to a job, let's say retail or a grocery store? The
Hmm.
kid has to do distance learning. Who babysits the kid? Grandma's house?
Nobody. Some of them has nobody, and they just have to trust their kids that their kids are actually waking up on time for this and being there.
See,
It's
that's all I want to
hard.
hear.
It's hard. But you know what? And then so let's talk about something really fun and exciting here. So I realized also doing this distance learning, I've been using I like my Beats
Yeah.
because it has noise canceling, right? Or cancellation. And I don't hear anything. So I like using it for the gym also. But I've noticed because I've been using this headset a lot more now with distance learning and when we do podcasts, not so much in the gym because the gym's closed. But anyways, it's starting to hurt my ears. And I'm just like, I feel like now my ears are squished and it's like, it's red after a while, and I think it's just hours and hours on it. So I'm not like a really high tech kind of person. And at the same time, if there's something that I really like, I stick with it. So I've been
hmm
sticking with Beats because I love it. Then, the new AirPod Pro,
hmm
right?
I
That
got a
came out.
pair.
And yeah, you do. And I've asked you about that. I know you like it. So my friend, one of my best friends, Jose, he works for Apple and he tests those. He's one of the engineers there that will test those new products or before it comes out, right?
hmm
And I remember when this first came out, he told me about it. And he said, you should really get this. I said, no, I don't want to because I said, no, I really love my beats because I can't hear anybody if I'm at the gym. I can hear anybody talk. I just hear my music. I don't want to hear anyone. And then he told me again one time, you should really get the new AirPods. This is so much better than the first and second. And I said, no, I don't want to, whatever, because it's so tiny that I feel like air cancellation, noise cancellation. I didn't believe him at all. And then
hmm
and I told you about this in the last maybe just a couple of days. And then last night I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to consider it because this thing is really starting to hurt my ears after like a few hours having it on. So I looked up the features on it last night and I said, okay, I think I'm pushing it. I really like it. And how small it is. So today I called him and I asked him, hey, so, I told Jose, I'm considering actually buying, getting the AirPods now, investing in it. He said, I told you that. So, anyways, we had this whole conversation about like, why didn't you listen to me? Did you not believe me? And I told him, no, actually, I didn't believe you. But you like it, right? And a lot of
I
people
like
like
it.
it. So
I,
I'm
I
gonna
thought
go ahead.
I thought it was gonna fall out my ear, but no, it's they're the pro ones. They're canceling. They're perfect.
It's so
Perfect.
tiny, and that's why
Yeah.
I was kind of in the beginning. I was just like, no, I can't. I don't want that. It's too small. I'm still gonna hear noises in the background, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. And you're one of them. And when it first came out, Jose told me about it, and so it was just funny. He was just telling me today, like, how can you not believe me? I work for Apple. I work on this. I wouldn't tell you otherwise, if it wasn't that good. So now he's just kind of, but anyways, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm excited to get it. Yeah, I'll let you know how that works. It's just so tiny, something that I'm gonna have to get used to in my ear. I used to make fun of some people with that on, especially at the gym, because I always say, like people that I know that has it on, and I tell them, "What's that? How come you got Q-tips in your ears? You left Q-tips in your ears."
Those are the old ones, the very first gen.
Yeah, because it kind of sticks out, right?
Yeah, it does. The
But
new gen,
anyway,
no.
yeah. So that's it. Kind of. I know it's something simple, but simple things like that sometimes makes me happy.
It's the simple things. And the great thing is that Apple product lasts, is good quality. Your ears won't hurt anymore. You should make the investment because this is learning maybe forever, right? So you have to use that as well.
Yeah. And I will. I'll use it. So I'll let you know. I can't wait. It's just something that I'm gonna have to get used to because right now, look, I'm touching my beats on my ears, and I could feel my ears. It's already because I've had it
Hurting.
on since like 8 o'clock this morning, on and
Oh my
off.
God.
Yeah.
And I you keep that.
And what is it now? Like 4 o'clock? It was probably just off of my ears for a couple of hours, and then that's it. And then one more thing that I just wanted to put out there that how I think can I think you and I both feel about this, about being grateful for the things that we do and having this podcast and knowing that we are making an impact to a lot of people out there. And sometimes we just talk, we just do what we do. We do like what we like to do and what we love to do. Um there's sometimes we don't know how much we touch people. All until when we really hear it. Gosh, sometimes I just want to cry. Like, oh my God, I was just talking about something. We could just be talking about something simple, or we tell our life stories. And yeah, so I just wanted to thank all our listeners out there. And I know that one that really touched me the most recently, actually yesterday, I had a girl came up to me and we were doing some exercises and just says, "Who do you admire?" And she put my name as I admire Coach Gloria. And we're like,
Wow.
why? And she just kind of went on about why. Um, so for me, it's very fulfilling just to show, just being myself, and just I don't know that sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I'm just minding my business, or I'm just being me, and I'm just being around people. So you don't realize sometimes that you just being there and just doing this podcast and talking about anything, you're a role model already to somebody. Somebody's looking up to you. You're an inspiration to someone.
It goes back to why we started Life's a Shuffle. We started that because we realized a lot of people in this world need help. And a lot of people in this world need some I call it salt on, your steak or something like that. Something to make it spice it up and give them some knowledge. And that's why we started this whole process, Life Show, because it was great to get two different people, me and you, as perspective, and have people listen to it because life is really shuffling things all the time. But how you create the life you want is up to you. But if you're unaware of what you're thinking and what you're creating, and unaware of what's happening in your perception, then that makes a difference. But we created this to change lives. We created this to be an impact. Now, hopefully, y'all hope and it be a grander scale time from now, but we'll see in time how it shifts and how it becomes a greater scale. And the people we connect with, like you're connecting with your students because they're listening to it. I haven't connected with anybody just yet, but you never know. I mean,
You are. You just. I'm telling you, it's not just me. It's you. It's both of
mhm.
us doing this. We are making an impact in all these people's lives. Just because maybe sometimes some of these people are just more comfortable telling me or talking to me or sending me a message. Sometimes you just, that's just how it is. But they're not saying it just because it's me, it's because of you too. I mean, you're putting yourself out there, you're telling your stories, your story, your life story that you tell the whole world right now is an inspiration to them. Your journey is an inspiration to a lot of them. And, it's an eye opening for a lot of people.
That's why let's just keep going. Let's not give up because this life is a continuous shuffle.
And we love what we're doing. And I think when we hear about it even more is what motivates us even more to keep going. So we'd love to hear from any of you if you have anything to tell us or share with us.
be a special guest.
Yes, that too. If you know of someone who, you know, could be a good guest, or you can be our guest too, let us know. Just message us.
And that is Life's a Shuffle Freestyle Thursday. So no topic. We just have a conversation, a quick catch up, what's happening, because life is shuffling. It's moving faster, like lightning speed almost. But thanks, guys. As always, if you want to be a guest on a podcast, you want to share your story, your perspective, or add some to the story we've had in the past, reach out to us. I'm Ron at ronbusinesscoaching.com. And obviously through social media, Facebook or Instagram, Ron Johnson, lifecoach.com. And as always, this is Ron Johnson, life coach, mentor coach, motivational speaker, and health coach.
And this is your life coach, Gloria. Thank you for tuning into another shuffle. I'm just lost. Um, Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Life's a Shuffle.